Okay, so why am I doing this again?
Because they voted, and just because I don't feel like reading it and I don't have the time in my schedule.
Okay, fine.
I better be getting paid well for this.
Hello, I am Ebony Shadowsmith, the new host and far better host than Frizz's Froze. Whatever. I was told that I can sit unladylike and get away with it. That's the whole reason I'm here. Anyway, I am the new host of the Frizz's Froze popular series, How They Croaked. Now, as you can tell, I have nothing better to do with my life, otherwise I'd be doing it right now. Yeah, a little bit about me. I have 15 children, no day job, and frankly, I don't care about my life any less than the rest of you probably do. Anyway, without further ado, hello, I'm Ebony Shadowsmith. You can just call me Ebony. And this is How They Croaked. We are reading the second chapter today, as I've been informed that you have already read the first chapter of King Tut. Now, I've been told to read the introduction for first-time viewers. Without further ado, this is How They Croaked. Warning, if you don't have the guts for gore, do not read this book. Remember when you watched Bambi for the first time and you got to the part where Bambi's mom dies? What is Bambi? Okay. And the sweet movie about a family of deer turned into a horrific flick. What the heck was that, you thought? And in that second you realized that if Bambi's mom can die, so can everybody else. How They Croaked is reliving Bambi's mom's death over and over again, except it's worse because it's the blood, sweat, and guts of real people. In this book are the true stories of how some of the most important people who ever lived died. You probably don't know how George Washington, Cleopatra, or Beethoven ate it, because every other book you've read skipped over that part. The reason is getting sick and dying is a big, ugly mess, and mostly it's just sad. There are nice things to say about everybody, but this book is full of the bad news. There are funny crying parts and disgusted stupid parts and hideous cool parts. But it's pretty much one train wreck after another. And who can tear their eyes away from a train wreck? Whether someone had a lung explode or was stabbed to death, died of poison or of a sore throat, there's always someone to blame. Fingers to point. Looking back from where we sit now, people a long time ago sure did some dumb stuff. And it's definitely the kind of stuff worth writing about. Even though everybody in this book has been dead a long time, reading about their last dying days, God, my vision is leaving me, will make your toes curl. But these stories will also fascinate you and make you realize how lucky you are to live in a world with painkillers and x-rays and soap and 911. Who knows, maybe people in the future will look back at us and wonder what the heck were they thinking. So here's a warning. Take care of yourself, the world, and everybody in it. But if you don't have the guts for gore, do not read this book. That is enough info as you need. If you feel you don't have the guts to listen to all of this, then move along. Today's chapter is about Julius Caesar. I'm sure if you've taken any world history class, you're aware of how Caesar died. It's just bizarre. Page 11. Arguably, his death is more political than that of King Tut. It's actually probably the most political we have in this book. Because I watched Frizz's video on when they read How They Croaked for the first time, and I saw how she read it. So, Julius Caesar, putting the I in Ides. We have this lovely picture of Julius Caesar. Anyway, Roman statesman, born Rome, Italy, July 13th, 100 before Common Era. Died Rome, Italy, March 1544. Now, it's before Common Era. Come on, Ebony, pull it together. Alright, let me start again. Roman statesman, born Rome, Italy, July 13th, 100 before Common Era. Died Rome, Italy, March 15th, 44 before Common Era. 56 years old. Now, if you take that into retrospect, you're probably like, well, that's very young to die at 56 years old. Please keep in mind, back then they had no modern medicine and no way to save him if he died or if he was dying. Anyway, let's get on with it. Julius Caesar was cut out of his mother, Aurelia. I can't pronounce that. I'm sorry, I can't pronounce most of the things in this. Just wing it. Out of his mother, Aurelia caught her with a knife during a medical birthing procedure that is known today as a cesarean section. It seems it should have been called a Cauterian section after his mother, but instead Caesar got all the glory, and that in part describes how Julius Caesar made his way through life. Caesar was always saying, I came, I saw, I conquered, and I draw blood. Caesar survived 50 battles in far-off lands, only to die in his hometown at the hands of political riffraff in Rome. He left the world in the same way he came into it, by the knife. It was said he's tall for a Roman. That's code for not tall. Caesar was, however, intelligent, charismatic, and fast to action. He could rally crowds of men to grab their sandals and follow him off to sack yonder towns. His battle cry was happiness. He loved everything about the military, the camping, the training, and the killing. Caesar paid his men well and made soldiering a real career. Caesar was into self-promotion before the concept had even been invented. He wrote 10 books about his fabulous life and called them history books. And he made his own birthday a holiday. I don't think you can get much more egotistical than that. Caesar went to Egypt to take over the place, but he met Cleopatra and his plans changed. He kind of liked her. He really liked all her gold. They had a son together. They called him Little Caesar, just like the pizza restaurant. Caesar had 3 wives, but none of them were Cleopatra. The Roman Senate didn't want just one person to rule Rome, so Caesar was part of a 3-man team called the Oh my god. I can't pronounce these words. What am I supposed to do? What the hell is Google? Ugh. Apparently I'm supposed to use this device to figure out what this word is. Does it really matter if I pronounce it right? Whatever. What is that word? No. Whatever. Translate. I'm supposed to use translate. Ugh. I already know the English language. Why do I have to translate it? Triumvirate. That's weird. Whatever. I made a weird noise. A part of a 3-man team called the Triumvirate. That lasted a nanosecond because Caesar didn't like to share very much. After a civil war, Caesar said, "I am dictator for life," which was quite a horse pill for the senators to swallow, including Caesar's good friend Brutus. This is where things go south. If you remember that scene in Mean Girls where Gretchen is going on a rant about Caesar, and she's supposed to be Brutus or whatever, she mentioned that, Brutus is just as cute as Caesar. And, yeah, go watch that scene for yourself to figure out how Caesar died before finishing this video. Then Caesar said, "I'm Mr. Nice Dictator." He forgave his enemies, which was a big deal, because normally it was so much easier to kill than forgive. Some people still feel this way. Caesar lowered mortgage rates and gave away land, and built new settlements for veterans when they returned from war. The only thing was, he didn't pass these reforms by the Senate first. The senators were just a bunch of rich guys, and they wanted to keep everything for themselves. They decided that Caesar had to be stopped. He was getting too big for his toga, and was a traitor to his class. 60 senators, including his pal Brutus, hatched a plan. Caesar was scheduled to meet with the Senate on March 15th, a date the Romans called the Ides of March. One moment. Is it going to come out? No? Alright. I felt like I needed to sneeze. Anyway. Legend has it, Caesar decided to skip the Senate meeting because a fortune teller had told him to beware the Ides of March. Now, before I flip the page, I'm going to show you these few tiny pictures. We have a mockery of the life stories Julius Caesar wrote, a picture of him and Cleopatra, and then a sign saying the Ides of March. Also, if you're wondering why the microphone is so much louder than it usually is, it's because someone left it on the floor and stepped on it, causing the padding that blocks off the obnoxious sound to fall off and break. So they just removed it. And that person is named Frizz. Anyway. I can never grab pages. Okay. This is where it all goes down. So this is a picture of what's about to happen. Can we not fall into my bosom today? That'd be fantastic. Hate microphones. Alright. But then Brutus went to Caesar's house and acted all buddy-buddy to make sure Caesar would show up. When Caesar entered the Senate hall, the conspirators moved in on him like hyenas circling a zebra they are about to eat for lunch. One senator grabbed Caesar's robe and pulled it down off his shoulder, making Caesar's back an easy target for another senator to thrust a dagger into. Attacking Caesar from behind should have been a no-brainer, but the guy either was petrified and needed glasses because the knife barely grazed Caesar's shoulder. Within seconds, the wall of senators pulled hidden daggers from their pleats of their tunics. Caesar saw his friend Brutus and said, "You too, Brutus." Brutus started wildly swinging his dagger in Caesar's direction. All 60 senators were supposed to get a stab at Caesar, so no one man could be blamed. Outnumbered 60-1, even the great Caesar didn't stand a chance. He was stabbed in the legs, back, groin, face, and eyes. He pulled his toga up over his head and fell to the ground with 23 stab wounds. The remaining 37 senators didn't need to bother. The killers waited for Caesar to bleed to death on the floor. They didn't want to have a post-assassination strategy except to bolt out the door. Nobody wanted to be caught dead with a dead Caesar. The assassins thought they'd be heroes out in the streets. They proclaimed them. Why is the microphone being like this? What do you mean we don't have a program to edit this out, so I just need to continue reading? I better be getting paid double for this. Okay, I only have one more page, so I'm just going to hold it like this. Do everything myself if I must. Out in the streets, they proclaimed that Caesar was a tyrant and Rome would be better off without him. But the citizens of Rome weren't buying it. Caesar's body lay upon abandoned. Wow, I can speak English. Lay abandoned in a bloody heap for most of the day. 3 servants eventually carried his remains to his house. Everybody came out to watch his bloody corpse go by. Now an angry, seething crowd was forming. Military men who served under Caesar were outside with their swords, ready to kill the assassins. The murderous senators holed up together for the night and made a new plan while a riotous crowd took over Rome. The guilty and nervous senators decided to ratify all of Caesar's projects. They also decreed, "Don't kill the assassins." Nice decree. A gilded shrine was constructed for Caesar's coffin in the center of town, and his murdered corpse was placed inside. The Romans went crazy. Caesar's shrine was set on fire. Everything that wasn't nailed down was thrown in to stoke the fire. A gigantic funeral pyre was burned for hours until only a mound of ashes was left. Caesar had survived wars, battles, and treks to far-flung lands, only to be killed in Rome, Italy on March 15th, 44, before Common Era, by his peers. Beware the Ides of March indeed. He was 56 years old. In his will, Caesar gave his personal garden to the people of Rome, and he left money to every citizen. The Ides of March were bad luck for Caesar's assassins, too. Not one of them survived the next year. They were all hunted down and murdered, including Brutus. Our next chapter... Oh my god. My brain is scattered right now. Anyway, our next chapter is about his final wife, Cleopatra. God, this went faster than the last one. I think Frizz's version lasted a solid 20 minutes. Anyway, do tell me what your opinion is of me, Ebony Shadowsmith, in the comments, and I may or may not be around for the next one. Anyway, do stay positive in your life, and if the world is just going downhill, please remember that tomorrow is another day, and I personally can tell you that Frizz has not had the best day, as her dog was sprayed by a skunk. Sorry, their dog was sprayed by a skunk. Anyway, thank you for observing this video and of me reading How They Croaked. Please do leave your opinions on me in the comments, and it might be me, it might be Frizz who's back. But yeah, also if you want me to drop the accent, I can simply do it. But yes, the previous part on King Tut is in a playlist on the Frizz's Froze channel called How They Croaked, and / How They Choked, because the next book is called How They Choked, and we may see a new character for that one, we never know. But yes, hope you enjoyed, and yeah, if you're into more content like this, please get the How They Croaked books so you can read along with me when I read them. Anyway, goodbye.